Welcome back to Podcast for the Recently Released Golden Geeks. My name is Lois Stardust.
And I'm your co-host, Joe Matissa.
And today we have a podcast for you. Surprise, it's a podcast.
Yeah, it is. That's right. Today we're going to be getting into some fun stuff. This is episode 63. We're going to go into the Snyder Cut.
I love you, but you are so loud and you are too high energy.
Okay, so we're going into the Snyder Cut. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And Superman and Lois. And some more stuff.
I'm so tired of comic book everything.
I know, but this is the week for superheroes this week, and things will change from there. I found some other good stuff for us to watch.
We spent the entire day with 4 hours of the Snyder Cut, and then we watched the Winter Soldier thing, and I'm done. I don't want to see any more superheroes ever again.
Yo, if you would stay up at night, like, we could easily switch and do one night, then a day off, then one another night.
Nope.
But no, you can't do it.
Stop being sassy. My point is that there's just so much superhero media, and I would like for there to be literally anything else, is my point.
Well, after this week, we won't have nearly as much. This is an exceptional week.
Okay.
I'm pretty excited. What do you want to start off with this week? We could go into...
Just go into Snyder Cut.
All right, let's do it. Snyder Cut time then. Boom. I mean, this is really exciting. I'm excited to finally talk about the Snyder Cut. It's a long movie, so obviously, like, it's a lot for someone to sit and watch. It's 4 hours, but you will be able to watch it at your own home.
I don't remember anything about the Joss Whedon. Is that who did it? No, Joss Whedon did.
Yeah.
He did that too?
The Justice League.
Oh, because he did Avengers too.
Yeah. Yeah, and then he got hired to come in, do reshoots, cut the movie down to just one movie instead of, like, setting up for sequels and all kinds of things.
So my thing is that it was like 4 hours, right? Which easily could have been done because everybody went to see Avatar, and that shit was like over 3 hours. You know what I mean? And if they really wanted to, they could have split it up into a couple movies, or they could have did like a longer feature where there's like a intermission almost, you know, if that's really what they wanted. It could have been a 4-hour thing, I think. Truth be told, I wish we kind of watched this last week, like the original version of, you know, Joss Whedon's version, and then watch this, because there was a lot of things I did not remember if it was in the one we saw in theaters, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you have an interest in seeing this, I would say maybe do that. If you want to do like direct comparisons, if you don't care and you just want to watch it, then feel free to do that.
Yeah, it's a lot to watch. But one thing I can say, that if you haven't seen much DCEU movies and you want to, like, sit down and really dive into it and get an intro into just about all of the main characters of the Justice League, this is the movie to watch.
I mean,
it's not necessarily going to be canon with the next things they're doing over the years, but it's still really fun to watch and kind of get a big intro story for each character, which in the Avengers movies you didn't get much of because they had so many movies for each character beforehand. So this is really cool, and the whole interpretation of it, I mean, it's generally a way different film watching this than watching the Justice League. I mean, it's definitely way different. I mean, the whole thing with Darkseid being in it, that was not even in the Justice version, is major. And this movie is clearly set up to be multiple movies, to be to kind of intro each individual character's movie, and all that kind of stuff all in one. It looks like basically everything they shot, they just tried to keep as much of it as possible and compile it together into this. They figured, if we're going to release it, let's just release everything we got, so we're not doing DVD extras with, you know, deleted scenes and this and that. Just throw them in there, you know, tack them all in, make it a big 4-hour extravaganza. It is broken up into 6 chapters, so, like, you can watch it in those parts like that.
I don't think anybody's going to do that, though.
Yeah, that's true. You probably won't.
Like,
you'll probably just sit down and pause it when you need to go and take a pee break or whatever. But it's really cool because this one, it goes way more into the character Cyborg, and he's kind of one of the main focuses of the story, and how everything needs to be resolved, how certain things begin, as well as other things. I mean, the intro to this movie rather than, you know, that weird CGI, you know, Superman scene where he's, you know, getting videotaped by the kids or whatever. It's like him being killed in the end of Batman versus Superman, and his like death cry awakening the mother boxes, because they're kind of like semi-sentient beings or advanced technology that, like, as soon as the Kryptonian dies, they basically send out their beacon, and, you know, apparently the biggest threat is now gone type deal. And then that brings Steppenwolf, who is trying to pay a debt to Darkseid by getting 50,000 worlds, you know, for something he did to betray Darkseid. He's technically like his uncle or something. And, you know, then Darkseid had been there in previous years, and they show that whole war scene. Instead of it being Steppenwolf like in the Justice version, it's Darkseid. You know, before he got his, like, crazy beams and all those powers and his armor and stuff. And that was really cool to see, because you see a way bigger scene with the lantern and with all the old gods and stuff like that. It's really cool. All the scenes are extended, and then some. And then obviously, like, it's Steppenwolf has way more of a story. He looks totally different. He looks like he did at the end credits scene for Batman v Superman. And it's really cool to see it play out, because Steppenwolf has way more of a menacing look and way more of like an actual story for himself. And then on top of it, seeing the end game situation with Darkseid and, you know, the nightmare sequence and what it really was geared towards kind of opened up to you and stuff like that. It's really cool. It's fun to sit down and watch. It's long, and there are some scenes that you're like, we didn't need this. Like, those parts drag where you're like, I didn't need to have this in the movie. But you get what they were doing. I mean, what did you think of, like, the action scenes and all that kind of stuff, and the enemy of the movie, I guess?
Okay, I didn't want to watch this movie at all. I didn't care. Like, I had no interest in it, and then the other day I was like, you know what, fine, we'll watch it. For me, it's just like it's like overhyped to some degree. Like, everybody was like, release a Snyder Cut, and I did not care. The things I liked is, you know, actually getting a story for Flash and Cyborg, because I liked the Justice League movie when we saw it, and I had no problems really with it, honestly. I think we might have even reviewed it on here. But I don't recall having really any issues with the things. Like, I love the Wonder Woman bank scene, which gets extended in this, and I loved getting introduced to new characters, but I felt like they were all very rushed, and obviously with having 4 hours, there's a lot more room for them to fully, like, flesh out a character enough for you to understand who they are, what they're doing, and why they're being chosen to do this task, like with Batman.
Yeah.
I think that it makes more sense like this. I think there's enough differences between this and Joss Whedon's version to, I guess, kind of allow or have this make sense to be released, because there's a whole difference between the villains, like you said. There's a whole difference between the backstories and some things that actually, because they do dive deep into the backstories and certain characters and dialogue and stuff that wasn't put in the movie, it allows a lot of changes to be made, like things with Cyborg's dad, or things with the progression of the story, and I think that's really good. But I mean, overall, I thought it was great. I don't know, I'm burnt out on superheroes after everything the past like couple years has done, you know?
Yeah, I'm very excited still. I still had a lot of gas in my tank for this one.
I mean, again,
so I was excited to
I
watch
wasn't gunning for it. Like, I wasn't like, I can't wait to watch this. But the other day, I was like, you know, let's watch it. Sounds like it'll be good. And I only fell asleep for like 5 minutes. If that helps.
Yeah,
I fell asleep like right when they were gonna go get Superman, and they were doing all that stuff in the tunnel. And then I woke up when he was ready to fuck everybody up.
Yeah, I mean, all of that was great,
Mm-hmm.
and it was extended, and it was awesome, and it is a rated R version, so there's a lot more, like, there's a few F-bombs being dropped, and, like, when Wonder Woman's kicking ass, like, she's killing people. Like,
well,
it's awesome.
What else I would like to say, I was not done, thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Is, you just said when Wonder Woman's kicking ass. Did you notice the Amazonian music that plays
I
every
love
time.
that. It's such funny, like, comic epicness.
Yeah, it goes like slow-mo, and then it's like this like oh, like Amazonian
Yeah, you
music
hear
that
the
plays.
horns go.
Yeah, and it's so dope, and I really enjoy that because it's like every time she does something cool, I love that. Obviously we haven't had any like, other than like a Harley Quinn movie, we haven't had any like female driven stuff from DC the past few years that they've been creating, like the, you know, Batman.
I liked the Wonder Woman movie. I thought it was pretty decent.
What I'm saying is like,
not the new one.
we
just clarifying.
we got her in what, Batman versus Superman, then her movie, and then Justice League, was it, or was it Justice League before her movie?
It was Justice League before.
Are you sure?
Her movie, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
So either way, a lot of these characters got introduced into other movies and didn't have their solo movies, or maybe she did. I don't know. Either way, though, I think she has some really cool scenes in this movie when she's like just being Diana, like taking care of a beautiful statue, and then like when she's kicking ass, like the bank scene is like one of the coolest scenes, I think, in my opinion, and it just got even cooler with this movie. So I like seeing things more advanced. I will say some of the CGI is really fucking cheesy. Like it's just like, we have the ability to do it, so we're doing it, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
like
some of the CGI is a little more rushed and not as cleaned up as it could have been.
It's like if you
But it still looks really good, I think, overall.
It's like if somebody was like, hey, we have a bunch of sharks over here, but you know what would be cooler? Sharks with jetpacks, here they are, and then they just did it because they could do it. Like, that's how I feel like some of the things in this are. There's literally a part where Batman's in his car and then, like, drives away all, like, sassy in the middle of the road, and, like, another, like, super fast, and it's just CGI, like, hard as fuck for no reason.
Yeah, they could have just, you know,
just drove a car.
Away.
Like, so I just feel like some of it's unnecessary. Yeah, it's stupid like that. But I get it. Y'all are excited to do whatever. I also liked the main villain. I don't know anybody's name. Mr. Wolf, whatever it is.
Steppenwolf?
Stepdaddy Wolf. He has...
Stepdaddy Wolf.
His, like, color is a lot different. It's more, like, almost iridescent. Like...
Yeah.
Yeah. And it
gnarly.
looks really, really cool, and I like that a lot. He looks a lot bigger, too, but that might just be, like, me in my head. Also, there's a lot of shirtless men in this movie. Like, the other one had some shirtless men. This time, it's, like, quadrupled, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, and all the topless babes they had in it.
There was none. There literally was none.
Yeah, there wasn't there?
Yeah, Aquaman, topless babe.
Yeah, he was a topless babe. He had some pretty big chesties.
Hold on. I want to bring this back real quick. I don't want to talk about Mara's actress because she's not great. But how weird was it to hear... She didn't have a British accent in the other movie, no?
Yeah, I know.
Does she have one in Justice League?
They had her reshoot her thing and change, I guess, her accent because it wasn't like that in the Justice version. And then it wasn't like that in Aquaman after.
Yeah.
But Aquaman was after this movie, and I guess it was originally shot for her to have that accent.
So it's like, it was such a drastic thing for these, like, British Atlanteans, whatever. I will say, though, I don't want to talk too much about her because she's exhausting, but her hair color looks, like, way better than that, like, weird bright red that they were, like, I get it. It makes sense for the comic character to have that kind of bright red. It didn't make sense for her, and it didn't suit her, and the wigs weren't great, but this one looks a lot better, in my opinion, than, like...
Yeah, I mean, and it goes more with Zack Snyder. Everything's a little bit more dark and grim and muted color-wise. It's not like the super bright, intense, over-colorized version.
Well, I didn't even think it was her at first.
Version. Yeah, at first you were very like, who is that? And I'm like,
I thought they
really,
recast her. Yeah, I literally was like, that's not her. And you're like, that's literally her. I was like, no way. Like, it looks totally different. Sounds different, everything. So, like, there's things like that kind of catch you off guard. And I don't think they're necessarily bad. Like, but the whole movie is literally just, like, trying to compare it to the other one, which I think makes it a little hard to focus unless you've recently been like, I watched this movie and I remember these things. Because some of the things I was like, did this happen in the original version? And you're like, yes or no, and I don't remember anything, you know?
Yeah. And the added stuff they did, I guess, with the reshoots where they did the extra nightmare scene stuff with Jared Leto's Joker.
Looks way better.
Yeah, and Deathstroke and everything looks a lot better. It was a lot of fun to watch overall, and it kind of gets you hyped for where the whole universe could have went over the next two films, for sure. If I would have seen this movie instead of what we got when I was really excited to finally get a Justice League movie live action like that, man, I would have gave this movie, I would have sat through it just like I did like Watchmen and all the other longer movies out there, and I would have been so excited to eat up all of the glory that it was. You know, I would have been pretty amped on it. This one, I was really still excited to watch, but obviously, like, a lot of it I've already seen to an extent. It's just redone, and it's just good to look at the way it was intended with, you know, better looking characters, and the costumes look a little better and stuff like that. I would give this a solid, like, I would give it a solid 8.
I was going to say an 8.
Yeah, you think so? If I would have saw this, like, at the peak when I was really excited to see Justice League, I would have been probably really blown away with this.
I would have been happier with this in the movie theaters, I think. And I actually liked the Justice League movie we saw. I went into it like being like, whatever, it's this more.
Yeah, it felt like the quality of the first Avengers movie. Like,
yeah,
it was just
like,
average, and it was good. Like,
and we enjoyed
flick.
it, and you know, I wanted more from it. Like, I was like, oh, are they going to make more Justice League movies or whatever? Like, I felt like I needed more. If I watched this in the movie theater, I wouldn't feel the need to have another Justice League right away. I'd be like, oh, cool, solo movies. You know what I mean? Because I think there was things that were missing, like especially Flash and Cyborg's backstories and the way that they went about it. It was also, there was a couple things with him too, like Cyborg, they gave him this weird like robotic voice at times, and then sometimes it didn't sound as robotic, and I don't understand. And because I get it, Cyborg, but also there's a scene when he goes to meet Wonder Woman, right, and he just shows up like full cyborg, like no clothes, nothing. But like in the other one, he just like shows up in a little hoodie and is like ready to rock. But he just acted like it was nothing, just flying through the streets like that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool though to see him kind of like, as soon as that moment happened, that trigger moment to make him like fully embrace everything, then it was just all out, him just flying around doing cyborg stuff.
Hey,
and the one thing I can say is with his thing is, by the end of the movie, each of those characters, and him included, you would be way more hyped to have seen a solo movie immediately.
I literally just said that. I literally just said that.
Yeah, like all of them, you would have felt so much more hyped for
two
sure.
things I want to say. Did he say booyah in this movie?
No, he didn't.
Disgrace.
No,
that's a disgrace.
The one thing. Like, I like that they say that. I mean, granted, people are like, "Oh, that's just like ridiculous fan service that they did to try to get
that's his
people's
thing.
attention."
That's his thing. You can't let him say booyah. You could do 4 hours of bullshit and you can't get him to say booyah.
Yeah, I agree.
At all?
I like that scene. You know,
they could have even
did
it like when it was like pre-cyborg, like him as a kid, like having a conversation with his mom. Booyah. Like nothing. You couldn't give me that. And we didn't even say anything about Superman's fucking suit, the black suit.
Oh yeah, that was great. That
Fantastic.
was great to see the black suit. That was pretty awesome overall. Everybody else's suit was the same, but obviously like colorized a little better.
Mm-hmm.
Darkseid's armor looked great, and then
the old lady.
Yeah, the
grandma.
Yeah,
whatever her name is.
Granny Goodness, and then Desaad. They all looked really cool. And spoiler alert as well, Martian Manhunter looked really cool.
Oh yeah, that was a cool dude.
Yeah, that was awesome.
He's like bootleg Vision.
Yeah, really, really just awesome stuff. Overall, just really fun to watch, and you know, if you have time to sit back at home and just dive into it, it's really awesome, and it would get you really hyped for what could have been that whole universe in general. It's a shame that like watching that and then watching like, let's say, the Wonder Woman movie or the Aquaman movie, how much more watered down it is from the dark and grittiness that they gave these characters in this movie, clearly that the intention was to have for these characters. But yeah, it's really awesome to see it in this, like to see Wonder Woman like so much more of a badass in this movie. It was really fun. Like, she looked like, after you watch this movie, you're like, how could she have even struggled at all in the Wonder Woman solo movies? Like, you think she's just so gnarly, for sure. And same with Aquaman. Like, it's ridiculous how much more badass they make these characters. But yeah, I'm done ranting about it. I don't want to. I can go and just talk about it and dive deeper into each character for a while, but I'm not going to. Overall, 8 out of 10.
I think it's definitely, I would say, if you're like, oh my god, it's so long and I don't know if I want to watch it. If you were a fan of the original, or if you thought it could have been better, I would still say to watch it. I think it has a lot of differences, enough to make it kind of its own thing. I think obviously it's overhyped a lot, but I don't think it's not deserving of it. Like, it's hyped up so much. I don't think it's a perfect 10, as some people are gonna be like, oh my god, best thing ever, but I think it is pretty damn good, and I think it stands alone as its own thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a lot of fun, and it got me a little hyped for just some of the next things that are going to be coming out in general, which Falcon and Winter Soldier premiered.
Yeah.
So we could talk a little bit about that. That was a pretty interesting episode. It was all right, not exactly as amazing as I was hoping for, but it was decent. What did you think?
I was gonna say, if you follow us on Instagram, which is Pod for the Recently Released, we posted a Captain Winter Soldier Falcon show, whatever this is called, meme on there. So you would have seen that already if you followed us. Continue.
Okay, so
I guess I'm supposed to say something, right?
This aired on the 19th, so I guess the day after the Snyder Cut did, and they only gave you one episode, but it's like basically an episode that goes over Sam Wilson, Bucky Barnes, and them kind of returning to their life after the whole blip thing with the Avengers Endgame and all that.
I want to say a couple things. I read somewhere it's only 6 episodes.
Yeah, that's what I heard too. Like, what the hell, man? I'm so
tired, like, of Marvel making these mini episode things, and each episode is like 45 minutes to like 50, I think. Which for WandaVision, I mean, the comparison is better because I think WandaVision's episodes were super short. But I read somewhere it was 6 episodes, and I don't know if that's true. And if it is, whatever. But we could talk about this episode. So
if so, this shit better open up, like, for real.
Yeah. So the thing is, it immediately starts off like where we left off with them in the MCU, where, you know, Captain America's dad, Sam is left to be the new Captain America, right?
Yeah.
And you can kind of see like he doesn't want to take that role. Like, I guess he feels like
it isn't his. Yeah, he gives the shield back to the government. Gives it back
to put on like a display, and he doesn't really feel, I guess, quite fit for that role. He has his own thing going on in his personal life, and they kind of show you like being a superhero doesn't pay the bills, and it's honestly just like a lot. It's like a lot of grieving, a lot of like therapy and like depression between the two of them, who are just like really going through it, because like, I mean, that was their best friend. That was both of their best friends that had been through so much with him, and he was literally the symbol. Like, he was like All Might. He was the symbol of peace for America, and he's gone.
No. He was Captain America. Don't pull that. He's like All Might.
He is like All Might. Whatever. I'm just saying they don't call him the symbol of like hope or peace. I'm just saying like that's how I would view Captain America, as that. All Might is fantastic. Shut your mouth. Either way, I think Captain America was a loser in the comics, and he's cool now. So get over it.
No, he was awesome. He was a forever
loser.
And always.
Remember when they tried to make him Hail Hydra, and it was like, just a joke, guys. He's not really a fucking Hydra weirdo. 10 out of 10. 0 out of 10. It was bad.
Wow, you're really good at explaining that for the fans out there.
People know exactly what I'm talking about. Bet. Either way, I'm forever pissed off about what they did to him, Captain America, at his arc. I don't feel like it's true to his character, but I'm a really big Bucky fan. So, and I really like Anthony Mackie, so I was willing to watch this show. And for me, if it's only 6 episodes, and this is how this first one went, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, it makes me super nervous that they're not going to deliver in the next episode.
And I think this episode was important to be like, hey, these are like real people with feelings, because they're superheroes. We never talk about that, but here's like all the actual shit that's going on. Other than that, though, as far as like a plot point, one is like we see Bucky kind of going through, it's almost like when an addict or somebody who's going through like a traumatic thing tries to make amends. So he has like a list of names, and he tries to go through all of them and kind of make his amends and have his peace. But like the first scene they show that with the woman in the car that worked at Hydra, was it?
Yeah, as he's being interrogated by his therapist, it's really funny to see the whole scene of him like making amends. Yeah, it's pretty comedic, and
yeah, you'll have to see
a little bit of action in there, but like there's a big action thing with, I guess, Falcon's introduction in comparison.
Yeah, and to finish up with Bucky real fast, it's like he's really trying to make amends, but you see that he's holding on to a lot of his past because the dude was clearly like brainwashed and just killing innocent people, and so that kind of plays into like where his character is going to go, I think. When it comes to the Falcon, though, we see him talking with this dude. Cannot remember the dude's name. The dude that keeps showing him stuff on his phone, and it's about this group. What is that guy's name?
Oh, that's like his assistant. I'm trying to think of what his name is. I can't think off the top of my head.
But what did he show them?
He was showing him the stuff for the Flag Smasher group, which I guess instead of it being the Flag Smasher character, it's a group now in the show. So that's interesting. They kind of introduced that where there are some basically what looks like watered down super soldiers that are involved in this, because that guy later gets his ass whooped by one of them while he's trying to do some investigating on his own. But I'm guessing he's going to be kind of a sidekick to the show. I'm more interested, obviously, in Falcon and Bucky in the episode. But it was interesting to see him kind of get whooped on by one of them watered down super soldier guys in the Flag Smasher group.
My thing was just to be like, hey, he's showing him that there's this group. Like, I don't think anybody's taking this thing as seriously as you're trying to make it seem. I think he's just a character that we're introduced to. But either way, there isn't enough for me to like go off of how I think this show's gonna go. I guess we'll see later on in the season. That's all I could say.
I mean, they do show the part also where they introduce the U.S. agent character, where there's a new Captain America, and it basically looks like the old man from Up, where in the thing, his face looks ridiculous with the mask on, but it's really funny.
All right, let's not say his face looks ridiculous, because that's clearly a dude who's an actor. Like, that's his face.
Face looks normal when it's his face, but when he has the mask on, it makes him look like the old man from Up. Well, yeah, because
it's not the Captain America look. Like,
obviously, there ain't people around looking like actual Pixar characters. Like,
my dude, regardless, he's not Captain America. I think it was stupid that they did that. I know why. It's gonna be this like crazy fucking story that we're gonna have to witness. You could tell when Sam is watching it happen that he obviously is affected by it, and he sees him using Cap's shield, and that's like a lot. But that is the meme I'm referring to on our page, though. You would know if you looked at it, Joe, but you didn't.
Me? Yeah, I didn't see it yet. I'm not good at the social medias.
Yeah,
but
surprise,
I'm trying.
surprise.
Yeah, whatever. That's what she's good at, so she helps us with that and makes the podcast
She helps
social
us
media.
with that. Love that.
What?
Nothing.
Well, because it's not like I help with that. You help with that.
I know.
You help our page grow. I'm really bad. I'm just good at maybe helping on this podcast by talking, especially about the next one we're going to go into. But either way, this is the premiere episode, so I feel like we should at least review the premiere episode. What do you think? Overall, what would you give it?
I'm not giving it a rating. I don't care. I'm not. I really don't feel like I can give it a rating at this point. If I did, I would give it like a 5, because I'm in this medium where I don't know how the whole season's going to be. It's got 6 episodes, and I don't feel grabbed by it yet.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not very grabbed by this episode. It was cool, though, to watch the Falcon with his new tech in his suit actually use his suit, and like not just like, I feel like we don't really get much of him in the movie really utilizing his technology and everything, especially because he's there with, Hawkeye, Black Widow, and Tony Stark, who all don't have powers, and War Machine, of course, too. So like, I want to see him utilize his suit more, and he does in this, which is really fun to watch. I want to see what they do for Winter Soldier as well. But yeah, I'm a little nervous to see where it goes, because I would say around the same thing. Well, maybe better than that. I'd probably give it like a 6 or 6.5.
Yeah, again, I'll let you know when we watch more of it. I'm just not sold on it, so I don't want to give it any kind of rating at the moment.
Well, either way, let's hope, fingers crossed, for next week's episode that it's going to be a little bit more exciting. I want just tons of action, honestly, and like buddy cop type stuff, for real. That would be great. But let's dive into the next one, which is Superman and Lois. At this point, we're on the 4th episode of Superman and Lois, which was called, it was called Haywire. But this was a cool episode, too, I thought. I thought every episode has been good for this show. This show is solid, man, overall. What did you think?
I don't even remember it, so I was hoping you were going to talk.
Of course. I'll talk a bunch about it. I would love to. But basically, it's Lois and her friend that works, that she works for at the Smallville Gazette or whatever. They spot Morgan Edge, like, talking with some people, and basically they get a little bit more investigatory about it, and they go to publish something, and they put the kibosh on it right away. So she gets like really mad, and they're about to have this zoning board meeting that everybody's going to vote on. So she's trying to get Clark to help with that, and they're trying to get like some way to report on it or get their message across to get people to be deterred from it. And then at the same time, they're having issues because one of the kids in school is basically getting powers now from being in contact with some kind of irradiated kryptonite, similar to Smallville, if anybody remembers that. And it's them kind of battling with the whole situation of, do we contact or tell our dad about it? Do we try to hide it? Especially because they're pressured a little bit by their grandfather. And then that also comes into an issue because Superman's, trying to help with the escorting of Kilgrave, and he breaks out and escapes. And basically all three of these things in this episode come to a head. And he's kind of in a dilemma where he has to make a lot of promises. I mean, he's the most important guy in the world, and he has to be at all three of these things pretty much at the same time. And it's him trying to prioritize which one to attack in which order, and just how to handle it in general. And everybody else kind of in their emotions reflecting on that. At one point after, there's an argument with him, Lois, and Lois's father, the general, because when all this comes to a head, he was talking to the kids, influencing them not to say anything to their father when things happen. And it was them kind of stepping in, being like, dude, you're overstepping your bounds, you were never a father like this, you gotta understand he's trying to do everything. There's a lot of guilt on Superman to even sit there and crack open a beer with everybody, or something like that, and hang out with people, when literally he could be anywhere in the world helping people that could be dying, because people are dying every second of the day. So I mean, this is a really good show to show you that kind of feeling. I'm noticing like that is a really cool dynamic they're doing, and that whole thing, when that situation breaks down and becomes a problem all at once, really cool to watch. And then they also have a little side note where they show the assistant to Morgan Edge, that annoying lady, is like the laser eye lady, where she has the power to kill people with Kryptonian laser vision, but like the other guy had like strong Kryptonian power. So like it's like they're watered down, kind of like the Smallville things where people would just have a power and things like that. And it looks like Morgan Edge is trying to create some kind of army based off of that kind of radiated kryptonite. I don't know how they're going to play that out, but we're going to see in future episodes. But this episode was really awesome, and even the drama aspect, which I'm not really one for drama, but when it comes to the way they're doing it with the family dynamic and Superman trying to save the day, and they're still kind of diving away from the future or other world Lex Luthor thing, but I'm sure that's going to come back in at some point because of the way this episode ends. I'm not going to spoil too much. Definitely check it out. Every week has been great with this show, so I'm really excited. But I'm going to give you a minute because you said you wanted to talk a little bit about Attack on Titan, right?
Well, I don't really... Okay, first off, I love the Superman Lois show. I'm really excited about it. I don't have much to say about Attack on Titan. My phone died, so I can't look up as much as I would have liked to. However, I will say the new season is fucking lit. Like, if you liked any of the seasons, this one is very good. It starts off a little bit slow, which makes sense because we're getting into, like, a new city, and it's been basically a few years since the last season we saw, and I think it takes about, like, 3 or 4 episodes to get really into it, but once you do, it's really good. This is the final season, so they're trying to wrap up as much of the manga as they can. I don't know how it's going to end. I mean, there's quite a lot of episodes out at the moment, and I've only gotten through a little bit more than half of them. But if you haven't watched it before, all of it's on Funimation. Fantastic. Please watch it. It's so good. It's such a cool concept, and if you know anything about the show, you know that there's giant titans, and this has been kind of solving a mystery the past couple seasons of why titans exist, and how they were created, and who the creators are, and what the other worlds are like. And getting to see all that kind of come to life is super fucking cool, and I would highly recommend watching it. You started watching it, but then you stopped.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't watching it as regularly, and you watch it too in your spare time, and then we get offset, especially while I'm at work and stuff. So, what I did see, especially of this new season that you were watching, was pretty good. I mean, the animation is still really good. All the action's really fun to watch, especially now that you're seeing more of when you first start just seeing the mystery of the Titans versus now you're seeing people obviously in the Titans, you know, kind of their inner body selves, like, you know, talking and communicating and thinking while the Titans are in action and people on the ground are in action, and all those stories are kind of happening. So it's cool to watch now to see. I missed all the middle stuff, but to see all this is happening in this final season is really cool.
It's almost like quite political, but mostly just story driven, and the concept makes sense. So I would definitely recommend checking that out. I mean, I'm trying to find more anime to watch in general, so if there's anything you guys think we should watch, please let us know. We were watching that skate anime, but you seem to be less into it than I was.
I'm not into it at all.
And Promised Neverland season 2's come out, and that show is very, very good. If you haven't watched it, I highly recommend it. But yeah, not watching too much anime right now. I'm trying to find more things to watch.
Well, I got some new horror joints for us to check out that I've been watching today, a bunch of trailers, and I'm getting really excited about a couple ones that we're going to check out. Maybe some action stuff too, because especially that there's still some Nick Cage movies out for us to check out.
I'm also just burnt out on superheroes, so I'm willing to take anything else.
Yeah.
I saw a movie where it was like some genes that were attacking people on Shudder, and I think we should watch that.
Slacks?
Yes. It was
with
like
the 2 X's, SLAXX
yes,
or something.
and it was some pants, and I loved it.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
And I loved it.
I didn't like it. But either way, we'll probably watch some stupid stuff too, and we'll review some of that as well, because I'll probably end up watching Slacks with you. Yep. For sure. But I'll let you close the episode out. And yeah, this was a pretty exciting one for me, especially because I'm a big superhero guy, so this was good. Especially for DC. Great week.
Thank you for checking out this latest episode of Podcast for the Recently Released. You can find more of our episodes directly through our website, which is podcastfortherecentlyreleased.com. On there, you can find direct links to different ways to listen to us, such as YouTube. If you're on here right now, hi YouTube, what's up? You can see us in our studio. It's pretty cool in here.
Yeah, boy. Woo!
Yeah, and we're also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, like pretty much anywhere you can find a podcast, that's where we are. You can also find direct links on there to our own individual websites, our social media, a little bit of information about us, ways to shop, all that kind of stuff. So if you'd like to check out our merchandise or other ways to listen, then find us on podcastfortherecentlyreleased.com.
Yeah, let's make like a leper and peel out.
What?
Yeah, that's the saying, right? Everybody likes that saying.
Nope.
Thanks for listening to yet another episode of Podcast for the Recently Released. If you want to peep some of our older episodes, we've got a ton of them. Just check us out on podcastfortherecentlyreleased.com. We've got merch, older episodes, links for other ways to listen to us, and more. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Don't let your meatloaf. Stay safe out there, guys.